Hello viewer, you are welcome, and in today's video we'll be learning how to set up a full Django project. Note, if Python is not installed and running correctly on your computer, you have to pause this video and check out one of my videos on how to install and run Python correctly. Let's get started. Welcome back. So when you want to set up a Django project, you have to open your terminal. So I'm going to do mine by pressing Window and R together. So this comes up and you press enter. So it opens our command prompt for us. So now I'm going to navigate to my desktop. When you want to create a Django project, you need a virtual environment. And to do that, you are going to say pi -m venv, then the name of your project or the name you want to give the virtual environment. Let me just say len. So when you press enter, you see it has created a folder len, but we have to wait for it here in the terminal for it to be complete. So we can just wait for it. Yes, it's done. Now the next thing for us to do is to activate the virtual environment, and to do that you are going to call the name of the virtual environment len. Then you are going to be using slash. I'm not going to be using this / as in this / then scripts. Note the S is in capital letter / activate.path. So when the virtual environment is activated, you are going to see this. Now the next thing for us to do is to install Django. So we're going to say pip install Django. All right, so we're going to wait for it. It might take a while, but you have to be patient for it to install completely. So it's successfully installed. Don't be surprised, my installation was very fast. I actually cut out the time it took to install. Yours might be longer than this. It might take 5 to 10 to 15 minutes to install. So now, if you so wish, you can just copy this and update your pip also. You can copy then paste it to update, but me, I'm not doing that, but you can do that to get the latest updates. So now that we are done, I can close the command prompt. Then this is the folder here, len. Now I can open my VS Code. Then let me open the folder, desktop. Now this is the folder. I select the folder. So here we are. Now the next thing for us to do is to install or is to create a Django project. So let me open my command prompt. I'm going to say Django admin start project. So then you're going to give it the name of your project. Okay, let me call mine e-commerce, or the name of the web app we are building, just the name of the project. So we're going to wait for it to get created. So we can see it here, e-commerce that's created the app. Then in this e-commerce, we have the normal Python configurations. So in this e-commerce, I can now start creating different apps. What I mean by different apps, for example, you can have customer page, admin page, you can create them as app. So to do that, you're going to navigate to your e-commerce, to your project name. Mine is e-commerce. So I'm going to say cd e-commerce. Now, after navigating there, I'm going to create my app. Let's say py manage.py start app. So what's the name of the app? Let me say the customer page, or let me say admin page. So let's go under our e-commerce. We're going to see the app admin page. So in this admin page, we can now have the HTML and CSS file related to it, our views, and our URL. So now to get the server running, we have to create a file here, url.py. Note, for every app you create, you are going to create a URL file. Here's my views and my URL. So I also need a folder called templates. Then under this folder, I'm going to have another folder called base. So it is inside this base I'm going to have my HTML file. Let's say index.html. So this is my HTML file, and I can have set it up. Let's have h2. I am running. So when we run our server, this is what we are going to see. So now under this admin page, I'm going to go to my URL file, then say from the Django.urls import path. Then we can create our URL path by saying URL patterns. Then we have the square brackets. This we are going to define the path to our web app, the URL to our application. So let's create a view here. So let me say the home page. I'm going to pass in a request, then return render. So we're going to be returning the HTML page we want to render when we call on this view home page. So pass in the request, then base. So we're going to base, under base slash index.html. If you have so many apps, I want to navigate to the HTML page, just say base slash the name of the HTML page. So far it's inside your templates folder and it's inside your base folder. Let's go back to my URL file and define a path. So before I can define paths, I will have to import my views. Then I'm going to say dot from dot. This dot means the directory, import views. All right, so let's define our path URL. So these two sign means the home page when we just load the web app. So we're going to say views.homepage. Then we can give it a name. Let's just say homepage. Home. Let's call it home. All right. Sorry, this should be path. All right. So now, if you are going to have so many paths, there should be comma before the next part that you'll be defining. All right. So now after doing this, we created an app called admin page. All right, and we created our URLs in this admin page. So under the e-commerce, that is the project where you have your settings.py, your wsgi.py. Then under that, you are going to go to the URL. Now for every app you create, you are going to always come and register the URL part here. So you are going to put comma here, and we're importing include. So now you are going to register that app URL here by saying part, an empty string, then include, then the name of the app in this string, admin page dot urls. So you just register the URL part of the app. Now you are going to be doing this for every app you'll be creating. Now we are going to go to our settings.py. We need to let the Django know that we created an app. So under installed apps, we are going to go there. Now the name of the app is admin page. Then we're going to say dot apps dot. Then we are now going to navigate to the admin page. Under that, we are going to go to app.py and just copy this. Then back to our settings. Then I'm just going to paste it there. So by this, the Django knows that we already installed an app. All right. So also, we're going to let the Django know that we have a templates folder by saying base directory, then comma. We're going to have template slash templates. All right. Now, we are going to also talk about how to let the Django know our CSS and our static file. But before then, let's run our server and see if everything's in place. But before then, let's check. I have the URL part here already registered. Under the admin page, I have the URLs part here that navigates to the home page views. All right. So now in the e-commerce project, I'm going to say py manage.py run server. Right. So now it's running. Let's open it in the browser. So it says I am running, and that is what we have in the normal HTML file. We can see it. I am running. So now we need to add CSS to our web page, and sometimes we need to add some medias. So all these things are going to be configured in our settings.py. So we're going to head on to our settings.py, then anyway so wish, but let me, since it's here, I can start. To be able to configure our Django project, to be able to use our CSS, we're going to say static root, all in caps lock, should be equals to os.path.join, then base directory, then static files. Now after doing this, you see it gives a warning sign. That's because we've not imported our OS. So you're just going to come up here and say import OS. All right, now let's move on. After configuring the static root, we're going to configure the static URL. And this will be equals to, we're going to have static files. Then lastly, under this static, we're going to have our static files URL, static files directory to be equals to, so we're going to have os.path.join. Then we're going to open our bracket, base directory static. So what do all this means? This static root tells the Django where it's going to be collecting all our static files for deployment. Then this static URL tells the Django the URL prefix for serving the static files. While these static files, we are providing additional directories to search for static files during deployment. So another configuration you will actually need is media URL should be equals to media, and also media root should be equal to os.path.join. that we're going to have base directory media. Let me make this in double quotes. So have our CSS under our app. We're going to create a folder called static. So it's under the static, we're going to have our CSS, our JavaScript, and images. So name file, let me call it index.css. So let me go there and just quickly have a styling. Let me say background red, then color white. Now if we go to our browser and we refresh, nothing is happening. We're going to go to our HTML and load the static file so that it can recognize our CSS. So to do that, in the head, we are going to have this, then we are going to say load static. Then the way you link normally in CSS, you're going to have it, then a bit different in the href. We're going to have this, then percentage. So we're going to have I'm first going to have static, then the name of the CSS file, index.css. So let's refresh. So we can see it as load our static, and we can now use our CSS in it. So what we did in our settings, we have static, we defined the static root, URL, and files. Sorry, there should be slash here. So there are some times that when you refresh at first, it might not work. So you can do force refresh by pressing Ctrl Shift R, or you break your server and try to run it again. Just keep on doing like that until it runs. So we can check it. It says I am running and the background is red. So please, if you've not subscribed to my YouTube channel, don't forget to subscribe. Click the notification bell. I'll be posting more engaging coding tutorial. Thank you very much.